Hi everyone, I hope you're well, and if this is the first time to the channel, welcome. I had a really difficult time trying to decide what to talk about today. There is just so much going on. So today's video may be a little bit longer than usual, but I do promise you're going to learn a lot about real estate and what is happening in the markets right now. And if you stay until the end, I will give you the answer what to do if you want to buy a place in a crazy seller's market like it is right now. Sure, yes, I know you can sell your place in a couple of days and for a great price, but how are you going to buy and where are you going to buy? Well, stay tuned. I have the answer for you. As you know, I like to check in with clients. Many of my clients also become friends over the years, so I try to reach out every 6 months or so just to say hello, to see what's going on. And I try not to be annoying, which for me is almost impossible. And I try to answer any questions that people might have about real estate. And by far, the two most common questions I have been getting are home prices going to come down this year or ever? And the short answer, they're not. And there are many reasons for that. And the other question that I get quite a lot is, Kevin, yes, I can sell, but I'm worried if I sell my home, and with how fast the market is moving, I won't be able to find or afford a new place. Well, as promised, I do have an answer for you, so stick around with me and I will share with you how I solve this problem for my clients. So let's tackle the first question. Why home prices, in my belief, will not fall this year? This, of course, is assuming that we don't have a major economic meltdown, which I'm not forecasting, but hey, full disclosure, I do not have a crystal ball. I can only go by what I'm seeing right now as far as job growth, population growth, Canada's GDP, interest rates, and et cetera, et cetera. So I alluded to this in my last newsletter issue. What is driving home prices right now? And what will continue to drive home prices this year? And yes, availability, supply is a big factor, but there's another one. And it's just not free money in the form of low interest rates. It's not just about foreign buyers. It's not just about immigration, where we are seeing right now 5,000 new people a month moving into the Lower Mainland and the Fraser Valley. I've always said, where do these 5,000 new people every single month live? 5,000 new people a month. You cannot build homes fast enough to meet that kind of demand. Most sellers that I talk to are afraid to list because they have the real world concern of what do or what can I buy, which only exacerbates the problem, because what happens is they go, you know what, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to sit and wait, which means less inventory available for buyers. In a normal market, what we usually see in the Lower Mainland is about 11,000 homes available at any given time for you to buy. But right now, there are only 56 homes listed on the MLS in Vancouver, which is 50% less. And we're seeing that in Surrey and Langley and Port Moody, Coquitlam, Chilliwack. It's all over the Lower Mainland, the Fraser Valley, which only puts more pressure on home prices to go up. One ugly problem that has really reared its ugly head in the past 2 years since the government dropped interest rates so low is institutional investors. Investors with access to a lot of capital moving away from where they've traditionally had their money invested in. Because if you're seeing homes go up by 5, 10, 15, 20% per year, it makes for a pretty good investment. So these investors with access to a lot of capital who have millions and millions of dollars, why not buy a home? You have cash, you can buy and easily pay $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 over asking, and you will make your money back in pretty quick time, considering what's happening with the markets right now. You know, I've talked about this numerous times, but I feel like it needs repeating for new viewers. To understand what has happened, we need to go back 20 years ago when the rental vacancy rate was industry norm of about 4.5%. That means for every 100 units available for rent, 4.5% of those are available to rent in any given month. 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, that rate changed to 0.5%. That means only 0.5% were available to rent any given month, creating a real problem in the affordable rental space. The provincial government had to do something. So their answer, make more new homes available to rent. When I talk new homes, I'm talking about strata, which is generally townhomes and condos. You see, up until that time, if you had a new strata development, only a percentage of units, usually around 5%, were available to rent out. 10 years ago, the provincial government, wanting to make more units available for the rental market, lifted that restriction. Fast forward to today, all of your new strata, townhomes and condos, are being built with no rental restrictions. So what happens is we've solved one problem and created another. Because now, 44% of all existing home sales in the Lower Mainland is investors. People who have no plan to actually occupy the home. And I've talked about this over and over again. Because when you have an investor who purchases a home, he can't live in two homes at once. He's going to rent it out. So you're creating more rental supply. But what's happening is you have less homes available for home buyers, driving up the prices again and again and again. And here's another shocking fact, which you will pretty well blow your mind. 92% of all new homes and pre-construction across Canada are being bought by institutional investors. Investors walk into a new development and they purchase by blocks. They will purchase 10, 20, 30, 50 units at a time. That's why you see developments selling out so fast. So raising interest rates a few percentage points is not going to solve this problem, and it's not going to stop investors from buying properties. Although, if you raise them high enough, investors will stop seeing the returns that they've been getting, and yes, it will slow them down, but it's going to create other problems. And if they do this, if they raise interest rates too high, it will trigger a recession, and there's a good chance that that would crash the economy. Something I really don't see the government wanting to do. But hey, those bimbos are capable of anything, so you never know. And I don't want to make this video too long. So in the next video, I promise I will go into the two solutions. Two things that the government needs to do to increase housing supply that does not involve increasing interest rates and hurting the economy. Because if you increase interest rates, I'm telling you, it's not just going to hit Joe consumer. It's going to hurt everyone. And trust me, you think you may want it, you don't. All of these so-called experts and influencers calling for higher interest rates don't know what they're talking about, and they're taking a very narrow view to this problem. And you are taking one problem, which is inflation, and you are creating a lot of new ones. And I'll give you just one example. Family farmers who are already struggling under massive debt loads get squeezed even more when you raise interest rates. And many just pack up and get out of the business of farming. And that's just one example. I could give you a list. There are a lot of unintended consequences to increasing interest rates, and quite honestly, most people do not think these things through, and there are other answers that are better. There are better solutions out there that require out-of-the-box thinking. In my next issue, I will go into so much more detail, but I hope with just that one example, you get the picture. Government, as you know, is not very good at thinking itself out of problems. For example, allowing strata, as I was saying, to be sold with no rental restrictions, which is really causing a lot of grief for today's buyers. Bringing in 5,000 new immigrants, which I've talked about before. You know, so much demand and so little supply to meet that. Implementing a new first-time home buyer program in the middle of a housing crisis. I could go on and on and on about government missteps. They just keep making the same mistakes. I swear they have absolutely no clue what they're doing. And now they want to implement open bidding, which is only going to drive home prices higher. So It's a great idea, but the timing is completely wrong. Because if you have an investor who sees everybody's bid, he's going to come in 10 grand higher because he's got a big fat wallet. He's just going to keep driving that price up until he hits the point where he says, okay, I'm out. But that is going to be the primary driver of prices increasing. Let's not talk about that. Like I said, I don't want to make this video too long. Every decision you make has pros and cons, and you have to weigh those carefully and say, is now the right time to implement this? Let's talk about the second question that I hear the most, which is, yes, Kevin, you know, I can sell my home. Yes, the market's hot and I'll get a great price for my home, but how can I ever buy the home that I want in this market? I have two answers for you. One, it's called a rent-back agreement with the buyer of your home. What happens is that we list and sell your home, and we don't accept any offer unless the buyer is willing to allow you to continue living in your home until we find you a new place. This solves two problems at once. One, we have a completion in hand. In this way, you have a sold contract and the money is going to be in your account. So whatever you sell your home for, that money minus realtor fees and minus your mortgage and whatever is sitting in your account ready for you to buy your next place. So you can say, I've got the money, you've sold your home, but you've got the safety and the luxury of continuing to live in your home. And what that means is you can take the next 6 months or longer. You have an agreement in place month to month with the buyer to continue as a renter. You pay the buyer fair market value, and this gives you time. It gives you 6 months or more to find your new home. If you find your new home in 3 months, it's a month-to-month contract. The seller takes possession earlier, or the buyer, sorry, takes possession earlier. It's a win-win. And this way, you don't have to sit up late at night worrying about whether you're going to be able to find a home or not in what is normally not enough time. Generally, in most real estate transactions, when you sell a home, you have 2 or 3 months to find the new place. This gives you 4, 6, 8 months to find your new home, which makes all of the difference. So there's another trick. I had mentioned 2 tricks. That's the big one. That's the one that I believe really helps out the most sellers who are looking to make that transition and don't want to be stuck. I mean, you know, you have a family. The last thing you want is to sell your place and not have a place to live. This completely takes away that problem. The other trick that I use is that investors have one huge disadvantage when it comes to buying properties that hardly anyone ever talks about, and it's this. If you're looking for a townhouse or a condo, only look in complexes that restrict rentals. It's really hard for an investor to buy into a complex that restricts rentals. Say there's a restriction of 5 units out of 100 units. 9 times out of 10, there are no units available to rent out. So an investor is not even going to bother bidding on a unit in that complex. So what happens now is you don't have to worry about someone coming in and outbidding you because they have access to boatloads of cash and you don't. It really makes things, it makes it for a more fair battleground for you. Yes, there's other multiple offers coming in on that property, but you're not bidding against someone with boatloads of cash. It makes a huge difference, I'm telling you. So when you're working with your realtor and you want to buy a condo or a townhouse, you just tell them, listen, I want you to specifically look at places that don't allow for rentals. Unfortunately, you cannot use this strategy on single-family homes, but you can use the rent back, and like I said, it's a very effective strategy for someone who wants to get into a single-family home. Those are my tips. If you find my information helpful, please don't hesitate to give me a like and give me a share. It really helps with growing the channel and helping even more people. I really do try to come out with my best tips to help the most people possible. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below. I do read all the comments and I do answer all the questions with the best information that I have. And before I forget, I did just finish writing my 2 books, one on everything you need to know about selling homes under power of attorney or inherited homes, and the other, which is my 3-step system that I use to consistently sell homes for top dollar. Those two books are in digital format and they are available for download and they're free. So just send me an email and I will send you the link. And until next time, please know that I'm always here to help, and please don't hesitate to reach out by text or by email, and I will do my best to help you with your questions. Thank you, and until next time, stay safe.